If you found yourself in a state of disbelief after finishing the current season of Ozark, you're not alone. Season 3 was full of sadness, mystery, and a startling conclusion that left us with the largest cliffhanger ever. Don't worry, we'll save the spoilers for later. Fortunately, like with much excellent television, a slew of hypotheses about what happened on Lake Ozark have surfaced on the internet. We've compiled a list of some of the wildest Ozark fan theories. Ben is being kept alive by Nelson and Navarro. Apart from Nelson and Navarro, no one knows Ben is still alive. They wanted to keep Ben alive because they knew they'd have to kill Helen, and having Ben alive and kidnapped would be a helpful bargaining chip. They simply needed to stage his death to get Marty and Wendy to Mexico, as well as to determine if Wendy could murder him if necessary. Marty had previously passed one of his examinations, so this would make sense. And now that Wendy has passed his test, he knows he can trust them, and he's happy to murder Helen now that Wendy has taken over her position. Maya contacts him and warns him not to board the plane, but he ignores her and does so anyway. This is presumably because he didn't have much of a choice, but his lack of emotion might indicate that he knew he'd be alright, and that this was arranged ahead of time with Nelson and Navarro. Wendy and Helen have no idea what's going on. Even when Wendy is in tears, Marty never exhibits any emotion in response to Ben's death. In the previous 2 episodes, he was either a robot or had been working for a long time while Wendy stole the show. He's displayed difficulty and anxiety in the past, but he's almost strangely serene at the conclusion of the season. Although that might just be to enable the spectator to focus on Wendy, even so, it would make sense for Marty to save her and her family. Marty said, "No, they're light," when Wendy inquired about Ben's ashes over the phone. As a result, it's possible that it wasn't Ben's ashes. It doesn't make much sense logically, but this is definitely a sentence that the writers might employ foreshadowing. The corpse of Ben is never displayed. Obviously, this isn't proof that he's still alive, but it does raise the possibility of his reappearance. Ruth was the only other person who saw the corpse bag. Nelson could have simply obtained a body to replace him, which shouldn't come as a surprise given that his work entails killing people and disposing of their remains. Marty didn't want to wait for Wendy's return when Ruth requested, so he wanted to cremate the body right away. Perhaps he didn't want Wendy to see what was inside the bag. Darlene, Wendy, and Ruth are all the same person. They have various names and act differently, yet when we consider all 3 characters in the show, we may see them as a trinity of one woman. Ruth was an ambitious young lady, but she was also rowdy and committed crimes. She found herself neck deep in drug money since joining Marty, but she's doing what she believes she must do in order to improve herself and live. Ruth is a symbol of self-preservation. Wendy is a middle-aged lady with a tumultuous history who's doing her best to be strong and in control. Throughout the episode, her motivation has moved from self-preservation to a desire to establish her own dynasty. She is hungry for power. Wendy is a symbol for gaining power. Darlene is an elderly lady who has gradually achieved control of her own dynasty. She prioritizes her power and control over all else, and she manipulates everyone she needs to keep her grasp. Darlene symbolizes the ability to keep one's power. Each of these ladies have a criminal record. Someone introduced all of them to the drug trafficking world. Because of the number 3, I believe the wording is alluding to the aforementioned theory. No other characters are even close to them in terms of similarity. That is why I feel they are essentially various stages in the life of one woman, with one arc from survival to power, and then holding on to that power with an iron hand, ignoring everything else. They're not just similar, but identical. The bird's demise will be caused by Wendy. Wendy mentions in one of the episodes that when she was younger, she would break into people's homes and tamper with their furniture and portraits, as well as color milk. After the events of season 3, fans anticipate that her brother's death will send her into a tailspin, and her habit, along with other harmful habits she hinted to in her history, will be her undoing in the final season. Wendy made a deal to save Ben's life. Wendy didn't give up Ben by calling Helen. Navarro was contacted by Wendy. When When Wendy told Navarro about the problem, he decided to assist her. He was well aware that Helen was the only one who truly desired Ben's demise. Perhaps Navarro had already made up his mind about Helen at the time, or perhaps a private phone conversation with Wendy had aided him in his choice. We know Nelson replies to Navarro because Helen once begged him to let her know if the phone call for her own life ever came. He didn't tell Helen about it, as we discover. Nelson was ordered to take Ben by Navarro. So where are you taking Ben? Things start to grow hazy at this point. We don't know for sure, but we think we know what's going on. Wendy departs from Ben's restaurant table. She gets into her vehicle and drives away from the restaurant. The license plate in episode 9 at minute 56:26 is a Tennessee license plate. Can we claim they got out of Missouri at the very least? Perhaps Ben and Wendy arrived in Knoxville, and Nelson assisted Ben in setting up with folks he knew in Knoxville or arranging for him to travel to Mexico. He needed to find a safe haven. Why would Navarro do such a thing for Wendy? I'm not certain. Perhaps it's because he'd already made up his mind about Helen, and sparing his soon-to-be new partner's close brother might be considered as a generous gesture, a kind act that might be recalled in the future. They might have to flee. When Marty assured Wendy that her expansion strategy had been correct all along, he was implying that her plan might have kept them safe. Her plan's problem was that there was no room for mistake. It would only have succeeded if everything had gone flawlessly, which was impossible due to her arrogance and love for her disturbed brother. They're now obligated to continue with Wendy's growth strategy as they approach season 4, hopefully. The Birds recognize that developing genuine enterprises for the cartel was always a dream after their experience with the horse farm and the continual demands to launder more and more money regardless of the heat on them. Any company they start with cartel money will eventually turn into a criminal operation. Wendy's strategy to increase the cartel's value for her family may keep them alive, but it does not guarantee their safety. It'll simply draw them further into the cartel's world, and we've already seen how that turned out for Helen. Maybe they'll go back to Marty's fatal idea of fleeing after all. The hidden meaning of the Snell name. We instantly thought of Snell's law, a mathematical method for determining the angle that light bends when it flows through a different medium. When we first heard the family's name, as a result, it's something that can tell you how something will seem when placed underwater. Remember how the Snell's ancestral lands were washed out in the backstory? Darlene reminds Marty that some people worry about perception when he recommends additional floods for the casino. So she's protesting based on her perception of a project that involves putting property underwater, the type of thing Snell's law is used for. So that's a bit of a stretch, but it's a fun link to make. Darlene is a Langmore in disguise. Darlene might possibly be a Langmore. The theory came to life when she walked away from Frank Sr. with a confident but uneasy demeanor similar to Ruth's. She is enamored with the ancient family of Lake Ozark, or whatever the name is. She described the Langmores as a proud family with extensive knowledge of previous generations. She claimed that the middle class was filthy. She has built a strong attachment to Wyatt and Ruth. She asked Wyatt if she could be his mother at this point. Speaking of which, it doesn't appear that she has ever been a mother, which supports another hypothesis that her spouse was blood related. So maybe that's the correct explanation, but it's possible there's some kind of incest triangle going on. You already know she's insane. That's a wrap for this video. Which of these theories seems the most intriguing to you? Let us know your comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.